do not drink soup. It puts a lake in your stomach. So it almost sounds like Forrest is saying soup might not be a perfect food.
This is the worst joke anyone has ever written.
It's not a joke, Joey. It's life advice. Hello and welcome to Is This Good? The show where we boldly, conclusively, and scientifically decide what things in this big wide world are good. I'm Matt Austin, and with me as always is production powerhouse Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi JD, thanks for coming. And today's guests are returning Is This Good champions and America's foremost experts on the NBA All-Star Weekend Celebrity Game. You know them from their very funny Roundball Rock podcast and have perhaps wondered if their cute couple name should be Shoei Kine or John Dean, former White House counsel for Richard Nixon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joey Devine and Sean Keane. Joey and Sean, welcome back to Is This Good?
Thanks for having us, guys. I've been wanting to come back because I have so much to say about what's good and what's bad. It's like just constantly rolling around in my brain. I DM Matt sometimes. I'm like, this is incorrect.
Joey, do you and your partner have a shared couple name? Are you jivey?
No.
Because me and my fiance are Shemily, so...
You just wanted to brag that you're engaged. Like, we get it, Sean. You're becoming a wife guy.
Yeah, I am.
It's your Pokemon evolution is finally here.
Sean, congratulations to you on getting engaged.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an incredible process. Puppy, new home, new lady. It's great. I've been really enjoying... that your girlfriend, right? Are you engaged? Your partner has been on the podcast recently.
Yes, partner has recently been on the podcast.
It's been great. It's
okay,
very, very entertaining and amusing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's she's told some secrets that are now on the web, and it's always worse when the things you say on the podcast then get cut out as social media clips.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow in my mind, I'm like, this is 10 times worse than me saying it on the podcast. Because on the podcast, it's ensconced and hidden under layers of boring bullshit. Yeah. You really have to dig through. But once it's a social media clip, I've got like people that I haven't spoken to in a long time going, you play with your gum? I'm like, yes, I play with my gum. They're like, why the fuck do you do that? I don't know. That's really gross. I know it's gross.
I think it's charming, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a clip where I talked about how I just had a joke about getting engaged and not having a ring and asking Emily, and she said, "No, I don't think you need one." And she immediately is like, "He made that up. I wouldn't say that. That's mean." And she'll comment on that on Instagram. I'm like, some of it, you have to preserve some of the mystery, honey.
I don't know.
You work
Sean,
in public relations.
You're not allowed to lie as a stand-up.
Oh,
like,
that's true.
You definitely cannot say you spilled anthrax on your baby as a joke.
That's a good point. I will never host a Daily Show thanks to my fiance constantly ratting me out in the comments.
That's tough, but of course everyone remembers when a Secret Service agent came to their home, and it's a difficult thing to forget. I wanted to know on the Roundball Rock pod, where are you in your sidecast? That's what I am most interested in. These are your Patreon only. You're like, hey, we're going to do a show about every single product Shaq has endorsed. What are your current obsessions?
So right now, I have been weirdly reviewing the podcast Smartless, which I really don't like, but like I just don't like it, and I understand why people like it, but for some reason Jason Bateman just drives me crazy because he always asks these questions that sound like he's walking around and talking on the phone. So it'll be something like, hey, Steph Curry, you're a champion at basketball and winning and also family, and I love your family and I respect what you did with your wife Aisha, so many TV projects. And my question is, what kind of upbringing or parents, or you have great parents, I'm a parent, and you get to the end and it's like, this is like the third most popular podcast in America.
I know.
And so I've been reviewing that. I need to find So
was that a request? Did anyone want you to do that?
No,
no one wanted me to do that.
I specifically have asked him not to do it.
Yeah, but Steph Curry was on recently, so we'll be doing another one of those. Oh, and for Roundball Rock, tomorrow I'm recording my thoughts about the novel Les Miserables, which is for no one. It's for no one, but I wrote them down, so I feel like I need to share that.
Is that going to get more or less listeners than the Smartless recap?
Yeah.
People kind of like how much I hate Smartless. They have no idea, nor do I really, what I feel about Les Miserables. A phrase that Victor Hugo invented. It's not. That's why people are like, "What does that mean in French?" And it's like, well, he was trying to start a hashtag.
What means the miserable?
It doesn't mean anything. It means that book.
It means the book.
Our other show, our Jack Reacher recap show, Fist Like Thanksgiving Turkeys, we're still only... We've been having trouble with guests and just timing. We're still only on episode 3, even though...
Of season 1?
Of season 2, luckily.
Season 2.
Even though the finale aired like 3 weeks ago.
I also watch it in the most annoying way possible, where I'm constantly taking notes on dialogue and like pausing and rewinding as if it's not absolute garbage. And yeah, it's a fun way to live my life. Smartless, Reacher, classic French novels.
Okay, I'm going to pause it after he describes how he's going to beat all these guys up. Then I'm going to play it while reading what he said, just to make sure it lines up perfectly. And, well, it often does. Sean, I want to know, what are the hallmarks of being an Uncle Dad? Because you have a stand-up comedy album coming out. It's titled America's Uncle Dad. Feel free to plug it, say the date and all that. But, yeah. What are the hallmarks of Uncle Dad-ishness?
Well, it comes out on March 15th, the Ides of March. I actually am not sure it's actually... I realize the Ides of March vary from day to day. It's because of my love of George Clooney and Ryan Gosling's incredible political... it's available for pre-order from Blonde Medicine Records. And Joey coined the term America's Uncle Dad just because I've always... as a grown-up, had, like, kid-adjacent jobs. Like, I was a swim coach, I worked at a kids' museum, I had a part-time job as a nanny in Los Angeles, and at the time Joey started calling me that, I don't think I actually had any nephews, if that's correct.
No, I think you did.
I think I maybe had one nephew, yeah.
Well, okay, so what happened was, Sean's Instagram was so filled with pictures of children. People kept asking me, like, did Sean have kids? Like, and not tell anyone? Because he was always... His Instagram stories were constantly just him with these children he was hanging out with. And I was just like, no, he's an Uncle Dad, not a dad, to our friends who were worried Sean was having children and wasn't good enough friends with them that he would tell them. So that's how that started. Also, Sean's just fun, but also irresponsible.
Yeah, that's real key. My big move is to be very nice to a child, but also wind them up to such a degree that it's a nightmare when their parents retake custody of them. Yeah, like a couple days ago, my 6-year-old nephew, I helped him light like 28 candles that we just displayed on my parents' dining room. He likes fire, and I'm like, I feel like we could control this. This probably won't lead to anything.
It wasn't anybody's birthday. It was just get the tea lights out. We're going
just
ham.
Got the tea lights out. Every candle just lined up in a row, and then he tried to start cooking Cheetos over them. And I'm going to say I encourage that behavior too, because he was going home. I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, it reminds me of those like cars that we used to play with as kids, where if you rolled them backwards in succession, it would get more and more torqued up and powerful, and then you do that 1,000 times and then just hand it back to the parent, and the car's like...
Oh, yeah. I even do a bit where when he's being driven away, I run alongside the car as far as I can, and
like
so
Darjeeling Limited.
just to get him like so he's vibrating in the car seat for the drive home. It's great.
Perfect. Well, parents everywhere love him. But go ahead and get that comedy album now. We got to pre-order this album. We got to get up the charts because we had a comedian on the show who also had an album coming out, Chris Martin, before you ask, not the guy from Coldplay. Every album in the top iTunes charts for comedy is like an old Weird Al album from 14 years ago. So we got to get you past Weird Al.
Yeah, and it's really the pre-order date. The most important thing about that is getting that one screenshot. And then you can have it forever. So, just it debuts at 1. The next week, it's 7,000. But that's all that matters these days is physical CD sales and iTunes charts.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually the reason those Weird Al albums are still there. I buy an old Weird Al album every day on iTunes. Yeah. I want to keep him relevant.
He also said, I'm doubling up right before your album comes up so you stay humble. So that was...
Well, look, it shouldn't be that hard. Everyone fucking hates Weird Al, right?
Yeah. Get him.
Really unpopular.
Get him. He sucks. All right, some very quick housekeeping. If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. You will not find us reviewing any Shaq products, but you will be getting a Patreon-only episode coming out this Thursday. So sign up now. And, of course, send topics to isthisgoodpod@gmail.com and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The premise of the show is very simple. I'm going to give you a topic. You tell me if it's good. Here we go. First topic, Ben V asks, fighting your way back to your spot if you had to go to the bathroom during a concert. So this is what Ben asks. Concert goers seem to have no problem letting you pass them by if you are emerging from stage direction at a concert. However, pushing your way back towards the stage, even after a dash to the bathroom, is frowned upon. As in, people will literally frown upon you as you go by. I'm going to a concert tonight, and I like to enjoy a few ales while I watch the show. That's right, we got cool listeners, guys. And I'm already feeling moderate anxiety about my return trip from the bathroom. So this is a problem I experienced, a famously small bladder. Don't clip this out, JD. Famously small bladder. And I, too, like to have a couple ales watching a show. And this is a constant concern of mine. So, Joey, is this a problem you faced, and how do you feel about it?
No. This is not a problem. I mean, you're overthinking this, Ben V. Like, you just mumble, oh, my friends are over there, while looking at the ground. Don't make eye contact with these people. They don't want to look at you. You don't want to look at them back. You mumble friends and then keep going. You're overthinking this. No one remembers that you are pushed them by because they're too busy staring at their phones, which have a tiny Ben Folds on them now, or whatever.
Well, luckily you're seeing Ben Folds solo, because you can't get the 5 in the same image.
No. Yeah, well, it's only three.
It's only 3.
So you can get them in one image.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we don't have any cool guys on this podcast.
Yeah, and you know, Robert Sledge, notoriously camera shy, so that's all.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, wait, can we name the third member?
Darren Jesse.
Why
can I do that?
Robert Sledge's name is at least in a song. That's why. So I think it's weird because I do think people care in the moment, but it's very strange because in general at a concert, it's such a free-flowing thing. People who get mad about that remind me of people who get upset when you merge on the freeway. Mm-hmm. And my friend once explained it to me is that it's not a race. We're all going different places, and you'll never notice again in 5 seconds. So I think it's a very similar kind of idea. I will add 2 little addendums. One is that after the pandemic, Live Nation changed their beverage policy at comedy clubs to be the same across all their venues. And most of their venues are like arenas or places where it's a big deal to go get a beer because you have to go through this problem. So when you go to see Usher, they sell you, a 24-ounce beer because it's a hassle to go back to your spot and you get frowned upon. So now the default at a comedy club where someone will just walk that drink directly to your table is still 24 ounces. So in the first shows coming back... And there's a 2-drink minimum. Yeah. And so now it's like, well, you're actually getting 48 ounces of 7% beer. And so right after the pandemic, especially in the city of Sacramento, people got so loaded and Live Nation doesn't even have that many comedy clubs, but they're kind of like, we got to do it. we got to do it across the board. It's like, they're just cups. You can get these cups anywhere, guys. And then
hold on a second, Sean. Are you telling me that famous fans of the art of stand-up comedy, Live Nation, don't have the performer's best interests at heart?
I would never say that.
First of all, how good would it be if you did have a 2-drink minimum at a concert? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're seeing Groban. You're seeing Groban. You got to have at least 48 ounces of Pabst Blue Ribbon in you.
If you ain't hammered when Manilow hits the stage, you're not doing it right. Yeah.
Obviously, I would say there's a difference between pushing to the front. Like if you come in, 3 songs in, and you just push your way to the front, it feels different than if you were already at the front, have left, and are coming back to the front. But ostensibly to the people you're pushing past, they don't know the difference. So that could be why there's some animus between the movers and the standers.
You can get anywhere in the world by just saying my friends are over there. Even if you're alone, nobody cares. I will say the thing that stresses me out at a concert is someone who grew up going to school in Oakland, California. I'm always so afraid of stepping on somebody's shoes. Because in high school, if you stepped on somebody's new shoes, you were getting punched in the face.
That's how they do it in Alameda.
JD, what do you do? I feel like you're a guy that just is just like, I'm never pissing, no matter what happens.
Well, that is true. But I have a policy at concerts. I walk where I want, when I want, and I just make it look like I know where I'm going.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It. I also look like I could potentially be a roadie, or I work
you
there,
look like you
know
work
what
at
I
the
mean?
venue, so yeah.
But
that's I do. You do look like a roadie, and I know. I wonder if I have short privilege here, where I'm pushing past people, but they're not as upset because they're like, even if this person stands directly in front of me, I'm still going to be fine. Yeah, I don't know if some of the taller folk feel bad that they would step in front of someone and then stand there and then block their view.
Tall people don't care about that. As not that tall of a man, they want to stand directly in front of me no matter where I am at a concert. And I'm just trying to see Darren Jesse.
Solo? Oh my God. Do stuff from Ben Folds Self-Titled. I remember the first show I ever went to alone, no parents. I think this was like the first show that I actually bought tickets for and was excited about was Dandy Warhol's and Blur. Dandy Warhol's opening, and it was his pre-cell phones.
The stars of one of the greatest documentaries of all time, Dig.
That's right.
Everyone should watch Dig.
Very, very good documentary. Yeah. So I was like, I gotta pee, and we're just in this, giant general admission pit, and I'm like, okay, I gotta take a piss. In 3 minutes, put your hand up so that when I'm coming back, I can find you. And he's like, okay. So I go pee. I'm in, I'm out. I come back out. I'm like, the fuck is this? There's no hands. There's no hand up. Anyway, so I the whole concert I spend away from my friend, a little scared. So it's a rowdy crowd, a lot of weed smoking. And after the show, I find him. I'm like, hey man, what the hell? I told you to put your hand up. He's like, I did. And then like 1 second after I put my hand up, a really big guy behind me said, hey, put your fucking hand down. And and it was then I was like, yeah, that's a good point. And no one's going to want to just stand behind you while you have your hands up in the air waiting to ask a question.
They will like it if you're waving them around like you just don't care, though. That's fine.
True.
That's acceptable.
The problem was he really cared. He obviously cared, and that probably
You got to time every song to when Blur covers OPP.
Yeah.
Or no, Hip Hop Hooray. Fuck, I fucked up that sweet ref. 51% of people say fighting your way back to your spot if you had to go to the bathroom during a concert is good. So I guess 49% of people are like, if you got to piss, you're fucked, man.
You're gone. Leave
you're out.
the concert.
Leave. Yeah, just leave. All right, next question. Garrett R. asks, civilians using military time. Is this good? So
absolutely.
Okay. Let me read what Garrett wrote here. He says, they hate it. They hate it. As a white man, it's not lost on me that having military time on my phone is probably the easiest dunk of all time for comedians. They'd be like, hey, where you got to go at 1300 hours? Bomb a small village and overthrow a fairly elected democracy? But The rest of the world uses military time, so I'm intentionally being more international, considerate, and worldly. You get to do a little math every time you look at your phone after 12, which is healthy for your brain, and no more confusion on AM and PM. What do those even stand for? Time is a construct. Best, Garrett. Joey, you're shaking your head vigorously.
This is insane. Are you... Oh, I'm more international. Are you also using the metric system?
Yes.
Are you...
Yeah, well, he
Joey.
should be. He should be.
No, not... Look, I agree we all should be, but we're not. You don't get to live in a different country, unfortunately, when you're here. You do AM, you do PM, you call them feet and yards, and also you
Quarts and hectares?
And
Fathoms.
also, you go to jail if you throw away a flag.
Joey, that sounded like an argument for military time at the end there.
This is insane. I don't want to do the math. That's my big problem. Like, also... if you're using military time, people are just going to assume you were at January 6th.
Or defended our country. I mean, Jesus.
Where's the math? I don't get where the math comes. Oh, because you have to minus 12 to...
Yeah, so 1,400 hours is 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Right, so you got to do a little math.
But you got to get everybody to just know that 14 is 14.
Right, I guess that after a certain period, like for me, I didn't know what 70 degrees was before I moved to this great country. We support all our troops overseas. But now I'm like 70. I have a sense of it. So I feel like I would get a sense of 1,400 hours if I transition. But, well, Sean, let me ask you this. If I told you you're an alien visiting this great planet of ours, this big blue marble in the sky, I tell you, well, our clock has the same 2 times in one day, and the way that we distinguish between them is we say 2 initials after them, an AM or a PM, or there's 24 hours in a day, and it's just one time represents each one of those times. Wouldn't you say the 24-hour clock makes more sense than the 12-hour clock?
Yeah, because even explaining the origin, you'd be going through and trying to explain what a sundial is. And then you end up getting into like really weird engineering things about accuracy of clocks on ships, and
you'd have to bore the alien.
Yeah, you have to bore the alien. And he's like, "Fine, just repeat them. Fine, God." It does make more sense, I will say. And I was really into having military time on my phone, and then I stopped wearing a digital watch in 6th grade, and then that was like a thing of the past to me. By the way, what would 70 be in Celsius?
Great question.
No one knows. It's impossible.
It would be about 21, 23. I don't know.
Do you feel like there's more? I'm sorry, I'm ignoring Garredar's question. I'm going back to weather.
JD Sean's treating us like we're aliens, and he's about to bore.
But do you appreciate having more degrees of range? Is that helpful?
I gotta say I do. I have to.
Because that's the only. Otherwise, it makes sense to go 0 to 100. It's just this is the one place where I feel like America is doing better. Everything else in the metric system, total failure. With being on the. I don't even know what that's how you can tell the non-metric system is terrible. That we don't even really have a name for it. It's
imperial. No,
it's imperial.
Yeah,
Imperial.
It's imperial.
I feel like people don't know that. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe that's really what I got through is I don't know the name of something, and so now I'm.
But also,
like a TikTok
everybody
kid
knows.
who's like, did anyone remember? Nirvana used to be huge. Can you believe that?
Everybody knows that when something is named Imperial, it's the good thing.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Let's just...
Well, I bet all these smug Europeans. Okay, for instance, you saying that Fahrenheit, we have more degrees to work with, but I think even growing up in Canada, height in feet and inches reigns supreme. Weight in pounds reigns supreme over kilos, and I would go so far as to say that even these snobby British people are probably measuring their penis in inches.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I go millimeters, honestly. Not to say too much about myself, but
Yeah, I got a 12-inch, 8-stone penis.
Yeah.
Is that good? I don't know.
yeah.
We all know. I will say, if you were born at a certain time, we all know exactly how many stone Gavin Rossdale weighs. 16.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
16. Can't name anyone else in Bush, though. Can't name another person.
Nope. Darren Jesse.
But yeah, if you really want to use military time and do math problems in your head, you have to do what I do. Someone who also is constantly doing math problems in their head to maybe burden themselves with anxiety. You keep it to yourself. That's all. Yeah. It can be 1,400 to you. Just do the math and then say it like a normal person. It's an extra math operation for you to fit into society a little better.
Here's a question, Matt. Do you think Michael Bay, the director of the movie 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, do you think he has his phone in military time?
Michael Bay, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
James Cameron, 7,000%.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay's pissed that he didn't get to name a movie Zero Dark 30. He was like, that's the coolest name. He's like, couldn't this Benghazi mission have happened later? It was 1,300 hours. He's saying it took 13 hours.
It was
to do
13 hours. Yeah.
Okay, he's not saying it started at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
The worst time to start a mission.
I will say, you solve the alien problem by doing this. The first thing that happens, the second you meet an alien, you say, synchronize your watches, and you put your hand in.
For what purpose?
So they know what time it is.
Oh.
So you're all on the same time. I actually think we should go back, though, to the times when every town had a different time. Did you know this? In like the Old West, what caused everyone to get the same time in this country is railroads. But before you'd like ride your horse from like Yuma and it would be 3:10, and then you'd ride 4 hours away and it would still be 3:10.
Getting the 3:10 to Yuma was very important. Some would say the whole point of the film. So don't you think that they should have said the 15:10 to Yuma so we knew that it would be in the afternoon?
Yeah, because otherwise the whole movie's
a.m.
completely dark. They're like stumbling around. The 3:10 to Yuma, it's difficult because there's not incandescent light at the time. And so the horses are falling. Everyone's very sleepy.
It would be great if the ending of that movie was them missing the train because it was like, PM? Oh, fuck.
But that's sort of my argument, is you don't... How often are you actually mistaking, like, AM to PM? If someone's telling you to meet at 3, unless you're a cat burglar, it's 3 PM. Like, there's just no... It's not that difficult. Like...
Okay, well, I would just say, then, that doesn't it concern you that for things that are really important, like we cannot fuck up the time on this, like a military tactical operation or someone's time of death in a hospital, we're like, we gotta know. Everything else, well, we'll have a few slip-ups here and there.
Meet me at dinner at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. That's when we're having dinner at my house. No one would make that mistake. Like, there's context.
Okay, but what if it was just more, let's go get a coffee at, say 9. That could be 9 a.m., that could be 9 p.m.
No one's getting coffee at 9
Oh, I got pull an all-nighter.
Yeah.
This physics exam is killing me. Okay, now one thing that did come up for me when I was thinking about this in my head just before the show is the 24-hour clock would allow us to get away from saying clock, which the more I think about it is the weirdest of the clock.
It is an
like
insane
Stop
phrase.
erasing the Irish. This is...
How far away do you think we are from getting an clock in the NBA?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm
First
trying to think
name
of
or last name?
other phrases.
Good question.
I actually think we should have more of those. Like you were saying, like, time o' death.
Yeah.
When's the Odette?
It is weird when you think about it. You're saying, oh, what time is it? 1 o'clock. You are confirming that the 1 p.m. is inside the clock.
Do you think Donald Trump will be president of states again?
Okay.
I think we're close in the NFL to having a cornerback with the first name O'Clock, though. I'm just going to say that.
Wait, first name?
Yeah, like O'Clock Garvey.
Oh.
That's an NFL last name.
And have all like Tony Romo being, he's always on time.
Yeah. And everyone's like, I hate you. Get off here. I'm watching the Nickelodeon game.
80% of people say that using military time is not good. So we're all in sync about that. All right, moving on. The internet is full of people trying to tell you how to live your life. It's time to decide if they know what they're talking about in, is this a good rule? So guys, I think this is a new segment since the last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
But basically, as I said, we present
Bill
you with
Maher.
a series
This
of...
is the Bill Maher.
It's inspired by Bill Maher. He's doing great work on Home Box Office. Check it out if you can. And you just got to tell me if you think these are good rules. Today's rules come from a book written by one Winston Groom. Joey, does that name sound familiar to you?
Sure does.
Why does it sound familiar to you?
He wrote Forrest Gump, baby, and I worked at the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company
That's right.
for 8 years.
Okay. So,
Okay,
the book-
groomer. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Sean, your phone, you got to set it to military time now that you're calling for a groomer.
All right, so the book is called Gumpisms, The Wit and Wisdom of Forrest Gump.
This is terrible. Anyway.
This book is from 1994, a clear cash grab once the movie came out. Now, the weird thing about this book is I owned it. Okay, my well-meaning mother said, you really enjoyed Forrest Gump. You really enjoyed that trip through American history with this Zelig-like figure. I said, Mom, who's Zelig? She said, well, you know, we got into Woody Allen later, but it's an 80-page book. It's a real phoning it in. There's one giant quote per page, and the book itself is about the size of a phone. So it's you know, you can put it in your back pocket and murder John Lennon. You know, that kind of book. Now, I thought, okay, so I'm going to take out my favorite, you know, rules or lessons from Forrest Gump, and I'll ask the guys about them. But I Googled, is there any way to like get a computer voice to sound like Forrest Gump? And I found one, and I very excitedly, it was like a dialogue box. I could type in these quotes, and it would read them back in Forrest Gump's voice. And it didn't quite deliver on the promise. So I want you to get a sense of what this computer voice sounds like. And I think the key to it is understanding how AI Forrest Gump says the word mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
One more time, please, JD.
Mayonnaise.
It's almost Sling Bladey.
It is a little Sling Bladey, but you'll get a better feel for it as we move along here. All right, Forrest, why don't you tell us the first of your rules?
Do not try to cut your own hair.
Do not try to cut your own hair. Joey, do you think that's a good rule?
I think it was a good rule. But I think post-pandemic, certain people got really good at cutting their own hair. Mm-hmm. But this is like a rule for 10-year-olds because everybody knew that kid. Well, 10's even a little old. Like 6-year-olds. Everybody knew that one kid who was like holding a pair of scissors. And then they were like, what if I just cut this? And then their hair looked insane for the rest of the year. I know because my brother did it. And my dad was like, I get it. We gave you a pair of scissors. And I was like, you're not mad? He looks insane. If I did this, I'd get yelled at for weeks. But I think it's a pretty good rule. I cut my own hair during the pandemic. Matt, did you at any point?
Yeah, but I didn't cut it. I shaved it because I didn't trust myself to layer properly.
Well, I guess you're right. I didn't scissor cut it. But I bought a pair of clippers and looked up several YouTube videos on like how to give yourself a haircut.
Did you successfully fade it, or was it just one length?
No, I successfully faded it. Not like not like a barbershop fade, but it looked fine. Everyone was actually surprised I was able to do it.
Okay, so then why don't you just always do that?
Because it's annoying.
Oh, okay.
And also, like, I left the top... Because, again, I like to leave it a little long on top because I'm cool. And I just left it because I was like, I can't scissor cut this. So, yeah, I'm going to say it is a good rule. I've talked myself into it. It is a good rule.
Just remember, listeners, this is the guy that knows all 3 members of Ben Folds 5. He's not cool, no matter how long his hair is. All right, JD, hit us with the next one.
If you want to wear a hat, do it in the privacy of your own home.
Sean, did you get that? If you want to wear a hat, do it in the privacy of your own home. Is that a good rule?
Well, look, we're all wearing hats on this podcast, but we are also
these are not the hats
indoors. So, I think that rule is maybe okay as long as you exclude caps, because anyone wearing like a capital H hat is making a statement, and it's usually not a good one, unless that statement is, I am Pharrell Williams, super producer and composer of the song Happy. Because otherwise, it's like, what message are you sending with a fedora? Like, it's just saying, like, bad news. You know what I mean? Like, I guess probably, like, Texas is an exception to this. Like, you're not necessarily sending the same signal in a hatted place, but definitely in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I think also maybe you get a pass if you are a elderly African-American man. But other than that, like, as a rule for white non-cowboys, this is a good rule. Like, whatever you're trying to pull off with your hat, you almost certainly are not.
Yeah, I think you're right here. I think I put on a Pharrell hat, and then suddenly I had good advice for Maggie Rogers, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't well, but not as much appreciated. I'm thinking that you're right, because Forrest Gump is a traditional fellow. So he probably does mean baseball caps in this expression. But if we take it to mean a brunch hat, a brunch-style hat, I think he's onto something here. So
I mean, anytime I've had a friend who started wearing a hat, it was always a competition where people were like, I don't want to say anything, but it's really bad.
Why is he
it's
doing
really
that?
Not. I mean, and actually, you know what? I'm going to say age, once you pass like 55, do whatever you want. But
okay. I mean, that's not that old.
I guess. Yeah. I just think that once you're like capital O old, you
be careful,
there's
Sean.
Like,
be careful.
There's maybe I don't know. It's probably retirement age, Social Security. If you're eligible for Social Security, you can wear anything you want, basically, because it's then you're like eccentric or
okay. You got to be at least 80 to wear a pork pie, though.
Yeah, you have to be like have to be like jumped in. You know, it's like a mafia initiation to get a pork pie hat, or you have to be in the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and I don't think they're accepting new members. So, but yeah, if your hat is named after something that doesn't exist in society anymore, that is a really good sign.
Okay, like a page boy cap or something.
Yeah, a newsboy cap is a bad idea because there aren't newsboys. Pork pies. When's the last time you saw a pie made of pork? No, it's out.
Cooling on a windowsill.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in and name every.
Floated to it.
I didn't know if you wanted to try to name every member of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, but
I was gonna make the same joke.
Oh,
and I only can name Dickie Barrett. All right, keep going.
That's all we need. All right, Forrest. What other words of wisdom you got for us?
If you see a line, go stand in it. Probably can't hurt nothing.
Okay, so that Forrest was saying, if you see a line, go stand in it. Probably can't hurt nothing.
This is terrible
bad.
Advice.
This is bad advice.
This is horrible advice. That's it. What is he just always at the DMV?
I gotta say, this is a bad idea because I saw plenty of people lining up for the COVID-19 vaccine, and then they ended up with a microchip in their body. So
Sean, you better make sure to tell everyone this is a joke before Seth Simons writes a blog about you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I've been trying to get him to review this album. He's hiding in Montana from Shane Gillis, I think, right now.
We believe in vaccines at the Roundball Rock podcast.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. It is true, though, like if you're standing in a line in Los Angeles post COVID vaccine and post lining up to get a COVID test, what's the best that's going to happen? You're going to get a Supreme sweatshirt or a hipster bagel.
Yeah, the worst case scenario is that you've begun a career in adult films.
Yeah, or you're taking a Scientology test.
Oh,
that's true. That's true. Especially post Super Bowl, all the ads. That's when the lineup is. Okay.
Yeah, you're now. Sorry. The Sorting Hat says you're in Sea Org, so you're a slave now.
Okay, Forrest. Sorry, you screwed up on that one. What else you got to say, Forrest?
Do not drink soup. It puts a lake in your stomach.
Okay, this is important. Do not drink soup. It puts a lake in your stomach. So it almost sounds like Forrest is saying soup might not be a perfect food.
This is the worst joke anyone has ever written.
It's not a joke, Joey. It's life advice.
This is absolutely a joke. It puts a lake in your stomach?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone knows that.
I'm not a big soup guy. I think I've talked about this on my show or this show before, but just soup for dinner, excluding like an Asian noodle soup. Pho, ramen, those are exempt.
Okay.
But just soup for dinner bums me out and reminds me of the times I was poor. Like soup to me, perfectly acceptable. A cup of soup before a dinner, great. But just a bowl of like chicken soup for dinner, it's like, am I sick? I hate it. So I might be pro this rule just because of my dislike of soup.
Okay. Sean, what are your feelings on soup and water masses in your abdomen?
Yeah, it feels weird that he's blaming soup for this and not water. Well, that's the main good thing.
It's a
where
really good point.
I'm like, he's not that stupid. By the way, in the original book, Winston Groom's Forrest Gump is like really promiscuous. That's a weird thing that he also goes to space. So maybe
he does go to space.
Maybe he's like, all your food should be freeze dried. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hold on, he goes to space in the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of crazy things happen. He's also, I think, famously well endowed in that book. Something that Robert Zemeckis left out for some reason.
Yeah. He did add it in Welcome to Marwin, though. Really weird later.
Forrest Pump.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had soup for dinner last night.
Okay.
I just think you should have heartier soups. You know what I mean? Like you can, or just have a second bowl. You know,
like reminds me of being poor and or sick.
But I just think like that's like a canned soup thing. It's just a weird. I feel like it's strange to. It feels like a self-loathing quality because you're exempting soups from other cultures you don't consider Caucasian or poor. I feel like.
No,
ramen.
It's about my childhood. It's the food I ate, I was fed when we were poor and sick. But you'll eat split pea soup. No.
But you'll eat like a soup from another culture that's not fundamentally different, right?
Well, there's a lot more food in them, like a lot more noodles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I had a hearty soup with sausage and potatoes last night. I feel like that's perfectly fine. Or like. Food. I see. This is like I feel like this is a personal self-loathing thing that's happening.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Sean, everything I say is a personal self-loathing.
Yeah, I guess that you know what
you've known me for like 20 years at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I love a soup, and I've never felt like I had a lake in my stomach afterwards. Honestly. Actually, maybe once when I went to Pea Soup Anderson's and ordered the Traveler's Special. But it's because you can have as much as you want. They don't stop you.
Well, that's why they had to close. Sean.
They had to close all the lawsuits about lake stomach.
Yeah. If you go to their
giant class action suit, lake bellied.
If
folk
you or a loved one
101.
has been affected by a freshwater stomach, please call this number.
I will say I would rather have a lake in my stomach than like a babbling brook, right?
Or an ocean.
Yeah.
And not just from a size perspective, from a salinity perspective.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't think I want a lagoon either, because it feels like there's worse stuff in that.
Swampy.
A creature. Yeah. There's a creature in my lagoon.
Okay, Forrest, I think you have at least one more piece of advice to give us here.
Remember this, peace of mind over piece of ass.
Yeah, now this one's insane. This is real. Forrest Gump in 1994 was really keeping it real when he said, remember this, peace of mind over piece of ass. Joey, does that resonate with you?
No.
This is like one of the things I would feel like would resonate the least with Joey.
This is like I feel like Dolomite says.
But I feel like you're like maybe I could imagine how you're feeling hearing that phrase. I'm just gonna say it one more time. Peace of mind over piece of ass.
Stop it.
Okay, Joe, you're obviously uncomfortable, so you...
I dislike this. This is like the Catholicism in me is like, I need to leave this podcast entirely before I even
and go eat some shame
this.
soup.
Yeah, I've got to go. I need to go say so many rosaries just from hearing this phrase.
Now, am I hearing correctly, Joey, that you're not an advocate for mental health? Why don't you like this phrase?
Well, first off, I don't like... I'm not big on the word peace, just in general.
No, it's
like the
different pieces,
EICE
just
one.
to be clear.
Yeah, the EICE one.
Yeah.
First off, this feels misogynistic. I know it's not. I know it's gender free or whatever, but when it's being written in 1994 by a Southern man, we're not talking. This is directed at a woman, and this is like, women are crazy, and if you have this is like happy wife, happy life, but like the opposite. It's like.
What if this book was literally just well-worn idioms and phrases that just Forrest Gump didn't realize that he didn't invent?
Yeah. Except he didn't invent them all. We've seen the movie.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean. But Joey, because I lived in Berkeley, California for a while, I know something that you would hate on two different levels. A lot of, probably one of the most common bumper stickers said, visualize world, like WHIRLED, peas. So that's both a terrible pun about peace and soup. World peas is pea soup. So it's a double whammy for you, buddy.
Now, Joey's visualizing a world peas of ass right now.
Yeah, right now, just a big green sloppy. And it's going to drive you crazy with the shopping and the talking and the voting.
We don't care about Stacy from work. I do think that you're right, Joey. It is clearly directed at women when he says piece of ass, because there's some pieces of advice that use the word Indians in them from this book that I did not include. Forrest Gump, he got away with a lot.
I mean, he was literally named after the man who founded the Ku Klux Klan. They say that in the movie.
Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Yeah.
It's a funny like.
Yeah, it's a funny joke.
It's basically like a Family Guy joke in Forrest Gump, where they're like, he was a founding father, and then it's like, I'm the Klan.
And then they literally cut to Tom Hanks like with a beard on a horse in a robe.
Really?
It's like a cutaway. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like a Family Guy scene.
I saw pieces of that movie for 6 hours a day, every day for 8 years. I can tell you what's in it, Matt.
Oh, hold on. At Bubba Gumps, they literally only show that on a loop?
Yes.
Really?
Well, not only. There's also, like, TVs with sports on them, but
okay.
there's always a TV next to the sports showing Forrest Gump. I also had to do Forrest Gump trivia with every single table. Because if there was a secret shopper, I would get fired if I didn't do it.
Like you had to initiate, or they?
I had to do it. I had to do it at every table. You'd be like, "Oh, some Forrest Gump trivia for you," and there's no prizes or anything. It's terrible.
And were these pre-written, or could you come up with your own? And could you be like, did you know that
come
Forrest
up
Gump
with
was
your
named
own.
after the founder of the Ku Klux Klan?
Yeah, you could come up with your own, but they also gave you like a list, and then I would add little jokes to mine. Like everyone, the one I always did was, what did Forrest Gump say was the best part about getting shot in the butt? And the answer is the ice cream.
Oh, yes!
And then I would
Fuck
say, I would say, the ice cream, but personally, I think it's because he didn't have to fight in that horrible war anymore.
Do not drink melted ice cream. It puts a frozen lake in your stomach.
If a woman tries to give you ice cream, she's the devil, and she'll get HIV.
The weirdest things they would do there is like, so everything is like vaguely Forrest Gump themed, and they at one point sold a drink there that came with a collectible cup that had like flashing lights in the bottom called Jenny's Cosmic Trip.
Oh my god.
Oh man! All right. Well, then, since we're talking about Forrest, let's actually go straight to subjective trivia. So, subjective trivia, it's just like regular trivia, except only I know the answer. I have my answer written right here on this note card. So, follow me along this train of thought here. Forrest Gump won Best Picture at the Oscars in 1995. Now, in retrospect, perhaps even at the time, not deserving, considering that the other nominees for Best Picture that year were Four Weddings and a Funeral, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, and Quiz Show. I think that was a Steve Harvey biopic. I'm not sure about that, though. So that got me thinking, because Forrest Gump has only a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some might say that's even high, but 71% on Rotten Tomatoes is very low for a Best Picture winner. So that led me to a Rotten Tomatoes listicle called the lowest rated nominees for Best Picture. And today's question is, what is the best of these worst rated nominees for Best Picture? Okay, so your choices are... I'm hemming and hawing here. Should I give you the percentage of these movies? I think I will.
Yeah, because it's not going to affect your answer.
Okay. Yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody, 60%.
Pretty bad.
Vice, 65%. The Big Chill, 71%. The Godfather.
Okay, boomer.
The Godfather Part 3, 66%. Or, what I'm sure is going to be your favorite movie, Joker, 69%.
We're picking the worst or the best?
No. What's the best of these worst rated nominees for Best Picture? Bohemian Rhapsody, Vice, The Big Chill, The Godfather Part 3, or Joker?
I think The Big Chill is the best of those movies.
I agree.
Although it is...
You guys love Motown.
Well, it's
Goddamn right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Forrest Gump, it rode very hard on its soundtrack, but no, I guess the criticisms are it's kind of... I guess it's a ripoff of a John Sayles movie called Return of the Secaucus 7, but people didn't really see that movie. But I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Big
Joey
Chill...
can name all members of the Secaucus 7.
Yeah. It's actually about the NBA Replay Center.
Weirdly, there's only. I was gonna say, weirdly, there's only 3 members of the Secaucus Center.
Yeah, weird.
It's Darren Jesse, Ben Folds, and Robert Sledge.
I will say it's a little bit surprising to me that The Big Chill was nominated for Best Picture, but it's just kind of like a comedy. Like, it has a lot of good jokes in it. It moves pretty fast. It's a weird premise, and I think it's hilarious that Kevin Costner thought he was going to be in the movie, and it's just like his hand in his shirt cuff in a coffin, I think, is his whole performance. But Jeff Goldblum's funny. I don't know. Like, it's
I think
I don't know what the knock on The Big Chill is necessarily, I guess.
I think if you had William Hurt in your movie in a certain portion of the 80s, it was just going to get nominated for Best Picture.
That's a good point. All-star cast.
So, Joe, you're not a fan of the soundtrack?
My parents listened to it so much.
Oh, yeah.
And?
It's
over
fine.
a nice meal of pea soup?
It's like the Forrest Gump soundtrack. All those songs are great. I just never need to hear any of those songs again before I die.
Okay.
Like, if I don't ever... My Girl, one of the greatest songs ever. I don't need to hear My Girl ever again.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, JD, maybe help him out here. What do you... Give me a final answer here. I don't know, Joey, what were you saying Big Chill, or are you saying something different?
I'm not saying Big Chill.
Okay.
I think... This is strange.
He's picking
because
Joker.
this is not a movie I like, but I think Joker is the best of those movies.
Okay. JD.
Wow.
It's Joker's weird. It's so weird that movie exists. Like, the guy who made The Hangover made a fake taxi driver about the Joker? Like, that's so bizarre. Like, and The Big Chill is, like, a fine movie. I know lots of people who love it, but I just don't think we need another movie that told us how great the baby boomers were.
It was like the first one.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones.
It doesn't matter. It set a terrible precedent.
I just don't think it's about them being great. It's about them being disappointed in their lives.
And cold.
Yeah, and cold.
They're cold.
They're just, that was the thing, is that Mary Kay Place almost died.
Yeah. I just think the weirdness of the Joker makes it the best movie. Like, just the fact it exists, how bizarre it is. Also, that shot of Mark Maron, the cutaway of Mark Maron after the Joker... I'm gonna spoil the Joker, it's fine. Shoots Robert De Niro in the head.
Oh, no.
When the Joker shoots Robert De Niro in the head, and there's like a hilarious cutaway of his producer, Mark Maron, being like, oh! It's so funny.
Well, the other weird thing is that they actually have him yell, "Lock the gates to the studio!"
I do want to say one thing about Bohemian Rhapsody. My dream is if I ever had, like, unlimited money, I would hire, like, one of those real CGI companies to take Bohemian Rhapsody and make those fake teeth bigger by 1% in every shot they're in. I think about it every time.
Hold on a second.
I see a photo of him.
It should be gradually 1% in each scene.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah. Sorry,
okay,
not
well,
at each shot. In each scene, 1% bigger.
Okay. Wow.
Until by the end, it's like a chattering mouth because those fake teeth are doing so much in that performance. All
right, let's go to someone who's actually met Mark Maron, Jason Doyle.
Yeah.
Give us a final answer here.
Okay, so just quickly.
You met Mark
recap.
Maron?
I've had dinner with Mark Maron.
Yeah,
I'm the only one that hasn't met Mark Maron.
I mean, he's
Sorry,
he's just a man.
Just a man. As it turns out, just a man.
Actually, a funny Mark Maron thing is he did a show in San Francisco, and my friend, I went to dinner with some other people and him, and he was looking at his phone, delighted at everybody who talks shit about the show. Mm-hmm. And it was like his favorite thing is that he was scrolling through like his Twitter mentions, and one person, his favorite thing was that someone told him that they liked that the show started early enough that they could get home to watch Louis C.K.'s new HBO special. And he just went, "Oh, fuck! Fuck! Oh, fuck you! Ha!" And then like laughed incessantly. It was great. It's really, it was so on brand.
He said, "Sean, can you stick around? Can you stick around for a little bit?"
Sean, I gotta tell you, who are your guys?
Sean, do you have any Lorne stories?
I'm like, on this menu?
Do you have any Lorne stories?
Who are my guys? I guess.
Joey, he would get that tragic pea soup story out of you within the first 5 minutes of that pod.
Yeah.
And you'd be crying. Okay, well, JD, I need an answer on this thing.
Okay, yeah. So we've got 1 vote for Big Chill. We got 1 vote for Joker. There's
Break the
Bohemian
tie.
is on the list. What else? Quickly, what are the other two?
Godfather Part 3 and
Godfather's
Vice.
not that. And Vice. I think it's Big Chill. I think you're a real sucker for a romantic comedy. That sort of the getting real with your feelings. The soundtrack played out, fucked out. Yes, Joey, I agree, but it's a banger. You got Kevin Kline, you got Glenn Close, you got Meg Tilly? Which Tilly is it? It's Meg Tilly.
Meg Tilly, yeah.
It's not Jennifer.
Yeah.
Because she was busy playing poker.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Big Chill. Big Chill.
Boom, 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 I got sunshine. Oh, copyright-free Jingle Punk's version of My Girl. Yep, it's the Big Chill. I do have a soft spot for it. Saw it when I was a kid. That's what, groomed me into believing that the boomers are the greatest generation. A thing I still believe. Love their music. Love that they make us relive their.
You love what they've done with the environment, and the job market.
Made it warmer.
You love not being able to own a house. It's like your
nothing wrong
favorite
with
thing.
renting, Joey.
Yeah.
My stove just broke. I didn't have to buy a new one, so thank you. Yes, the Big Chill is the answer. Also, my friends and I have this this inside joke that anytime I get together with my old friends from high school, we call it a Big Chill funeral. Oh, you want to do a Big Chill funeral? Where we get together and reminisce about the past. It's really nice. But that's my answer. Joey, why don't you tell us where people can find you and the pod? And then, Sean, you tell us where people can find you and America's Uncle Dad.
Yeah.
Great.
At Round Rock Pod on Twitter, Round Rock Pod at gmail.com, patreon.com/roundrockpod, and I'm at Joey Devine on Twitter, but my tweets are for me and me only. They're not very popular. If you want to hear me talk about Cinenerdle Battle Mode, that's where you go. Matt, are you familiar with Cinenerdle Battle Mode?
No, I need a quick primer.
It's a game. It's like a movie trivia game that you battle people online. So the starting movies today are Madam Web and Morbius. And it'll give you one of those movies, then somebody will have to say, Morbius, right? Say it starts at Morbius, someone will say Dallas Buyers Club, and then you have to name a movie that connects to Dallas Buyers Club, because Jared Leto is in Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, so you have to find the thing in the middle of two movies.
Connection.
Yeah, it's just the connection. You name a movie that connects to the other movie. You can do it with screenwriters. You can do it with actors. You can do it with cinematographers.
Grips? Can you do it with grips?
You can't do it with grips, but you can do
Best Boys?
composers. So Danny Elfman, big play. But you can also, there's a chess element to it too, because you can ban 3 names at the beginning of the game that you can use, but they can't. So I could ban Jared Leto and try and get you in a... I don't know. What was that movie where he played the guy who shot John Lennon? Try and get you in that hole, because there's no way out without using Jared Leto. And you just keep naming until the other person can't. Mm-hmm. And I tweet about it incessantly, and it gets 1 favorite.
Okay, people,
and it's
go be the
always
second
at
favorite.
Cinenerdle.
Yeah.
Faving it.
Why don't you give out the website for that, too? It's a long URL.
It's cinenerdle2.app/battle.
That's how you know it's a good game, when they can afford the vanity URL.
And I think Joey, he's considered maybe becoming a Cinenerdle Battle Mode streamer.
I want to try. I am gonna consider. I'm really good.
I'm actually gonna help set that up after this podcast.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Okay, yeah, get the Twitch going.
So you can watch me. You can watch me play Cinenerdle 2 Battle Mode somewhere shortly.
Yeah, we'll get a playback going for it.
Yeah, and you know what? For this, for listeners of this stream, of this podcast, if you see me streaming, you write the Big Chill. I'll try and connect the movie to the Big Chill.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Very
Matt's
fun.
favorite movie, the Big
It's the
Chill.
best, greatest movie of all time. Sean, where can people find you and America's Uncle Dad?
Thank you. It's from Blonde Medicine Records. You can go to iTunes and find it and search for America's Uncle Dad. Yep. We were going to call it Beaver Fever at one point, but there's a song called that, and there's some other things, and now no one else is America's Uncle Dad. It's the unique thing. If you search for that, you will find it. And I realize that's important instead of making...
Also, it's way less horny.
It's not a very horny
You're
album,
a married man
say.
now. You're going to be a married man now. Peace of mind over piece of ass.
And I think
so true. So true.
I also believe that any other reference to Beaver Fever is definitely like really raunchy. That's what we talked about with the album planning. They're like, you don't even follow these links. You can follow me. I'm at Sean Keane on Twitter. I'm at Jort Center on Instagram, like Sports Center for jean shorts. There's I should share a clip of me and Joey doing Jort Center at one point. I think maybe both of us don't have facial hair at that point. It's kind of weird.
That's correct.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, pre-order it on iTunes. The official if you pre-order it, you get some special bonus preview clips, but it goes out officially on March 15th, and we gotta beat at least one Weird Al album, or
get that sick
real
fuck
trouble
off the charts. He's ruined enough of my favorite songs.
If I don't beat the Food album, I'm gonna lose it.
Okay, I was okay.
And I'm gonna start using military time.
That's right. It's okay for Weird Al to ruin, Give It Away. But then did he also have to ruin Under the Bridge as the intro to the Give It Away Barney Rubble?
I don't want to tell you about the multiple polka medleys he has, though. If you don't like when he messes up multiple songs.
Okay, Weird Al Challenge, soundtrack to The Big Chill, all polka.
I was going to say the same thing!
All right, well, you can find that on our Patreon, patreon.com/isthisgood. If you have topics, email us at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Go check out Roundball Rock. Go check out Sean's album, America's Uncle Dad. Thanks for listening. Thanks to John Dean for coming on. Thanks in advance for leaving a 5-star review. For everyone, I'm Matt Austin, and this was good. We'll see you next week.